Today I'm showing you how to replace the left front axle on a 2013 Audi A5. I'm going to be doing it kind of a little bit different today because I can't find this guy's wheel lock key, so I'm going to do the whole thing with the wheel in place on the car. So first step, lower the car down, get a breaker bar, and crack this bolt loose. Just crack it loose a little bit. You know, you don't even have to have the car all the way on the ground, just it touching and then someone else inside the car with the car running and their foot on the brake. So break this bolt loose and then lift it up like this. Alright, now from underneath you can see the CV boot's torn and it's been leaking grease for a while now. I can actually feel a lot of play in this CV joint, and normally, and the better thing to do in this situation would be to replace the CV joint with a factory CV joint on the factory axle. This axle has already been replaced with an aftermarket one, and a lot of times the aftermarket axles, the CV boots aren't as high quality, they don't last as long, and they do things like this and they tear, and then the joint is you know, it's compromised once you get a bunch of dirt in there and water, and you know, the grease works its way out. So I can't put a factory CV joint on the aftermarket axle because they usually don't line up right. The splines are different. They usually make them in such a way where you can't just pound a factory CV joint onto it. So the best option for this guy, being that the factory axle I think is, I don't know, around $1,000, is just and I wouldn't get a core because I can't return an aftermarket 1.4 core charge, is just to put another aftermarket axle on it. So from underneath you get to all of these triple square fasteners with just a 6-inch extension, and I use an impact to take them out. And just make sure that your socket is all the way in, and you know, it's kind of nice actually with this tire on because it's easy to rotate this whole thing. So just get all those bolts out, and I'm gonna do that right now. With all those inner bolts out, you can take this axle, pull it towards the back of the car up here, so it's behind the steering column, and you can just slide it out, and there's enough room where you can you know, just kind of find the right angle and wiggle it out of here. So sometimes it would help probably a little bit if I turn my steering wheel right now, but there it is. Pretty easy to get out. It's a lot easier on this left front than it is on the right front. Right front you can't quite do the same thing because the way the differential hangs off the trans, you have to remove this shield to, you know, and the little shield around the top of the axle, that shield up there too, so you can move it back and unplug it the same way. So this side, it's a piece of cake. You just undo the bolts, pull it towards the back, slide it right out. So now I'm gonna start I'm gonna clean this up a little bit where the grease was spraying everywhere all over the brake, and I'm gonna start reinstalling the new one. So alright, so I stuck the new axle in the same way the old one came out, cleaned this off with some brake clean the best I could, tighten up all these inner bolts. You can get to it pretty good down here with that same extension and a 3/8 drive ratchet. This outer axle bolt is commonly under torqued. The manufacturer spec for this is 200 Newton meters and then 180 degrees. So these are supposed to be murdered. You're supposed to tighten these real tight. So you gotta, you know, get it pretty tight while it's up in the air so you're not separating the bearing when you lower it down. And it's a two-person job. You have to have another person inside the car holding their foot on the brake. But once it's touching the ground, do your 200 Newton meters and then grab a breaker bar, and then you know, I do two 90-degree turns, so you want 180 degrees total. So that's it. Thanks.